So walking into Small Pond on our really big full day of shooting this content, it was a really foggy, rainy day. It was chilly, but we got there and it was so neat. Dylan, our front of house engineer, and Alan, our bass player, were like playing guitar in the stairwell, and it just sounded so gorgeous and like so beautiful. You know, it was completely acoustic and they'd never played together before. So walking into hearing them creating something and just like vibing in the moment was really, really neat.
Small Pond is probably one of the most special places in Chapel Hill, or in this part of North Carolina. A friend of ours, Kirk Sterland, and his wife Babette, they bought this old cabin, this property. Man, it's just the most beautiful place. They restored this cabin, and Kirk loves recording and music, and his passion's really just helping out local musicians in the community. And honestly, it's really the space, I think, that partially inspired us to even want to do a live EP and to do these performances live at Small Pond. It's just an inspiring place.
Yeah, the cabin dates back to the 1800s, and so that in and of itself is really cool for our music being roots music and like playing vintage instruments and all of that stuff. And because our songs are very rooted in North Carolina, it seemed like a really obvious place to record some live videos and a live album.
Honestly, we decided to do these videos because we really needed more material with our full band to show venues and potential folks that were going to hire us for our full band to perform. The videos were kind of what we were concerned with, and then we listened back to the audio after it was mixed. Dylan Turner, our awesome engineer, he mixed the audio, and we listened back and we were like, I think this could be a live record. That felt like a great tempo.
Yeah. Can we take the drums down?
So it definitely was not the intention to do a live album or a live EP with these songs, but they just sounded so good. Sometimes I listen back and I'm like, I can't believe we played, that was all live, one take.
Yeah.
Like, no overdubs. The only thing we did after we left there was literally take the separate tracks of each instrument and the vocals and just mix them so that they,
making sure the volume is at appropriate levels,
Yeah.
the reverb is at appropriate levels, but there was no like, oh, we need to add this other drum, whatever. Like, it was just everything was
Yeah.
recorded there.
It's taken straight off the mixing board, and
Super cool.
as Simon says, print it.
Print it.
Yeah, so that was really cool. It wasn't intentional to do a live EP, and what you hear was just a product of being inspired. Kind of looked at it more as like, it's something we did for ourselves that we let other people in on. Nice. Here she comes.
Oh, Lord. Ruby, come here. No, that's a camera. That's not food. Come here. Ruby was not welcome to go to Small Pond because she would be tip-tapping around and messing up all the recordings. But yeah, it's really, like, to your point about, you know, our musicians and these guys that are our dear friends, like, we're paying them to be a part of this music video, but it's so cool that they, like, in their spare time, they want to be playing the music and working on it on their own.
It's reassuring when you walk in and you hear them playing. Like, it just makes me inspired to be like, they want to play music. They want to be here. Like, we're in this because we're all creatives, and this is what we love to do, even though they might be our songs that we're working on in the moment. Like, I don't know, their personal musicianship and creativity helps contribute to our creativity and how these songs turned out. And you know, we have like some ideas of song structure, but what's really cool, like, in all these different parts, so much of it is improv. Like, Spencer takes a break on the mandolin, or Saman tries an electric guitar part, and we've never played it that way before.
Or they just hear something that we've never heard, and we're like, okay, let's try that.
And we listen back to a take, and we're like, wow, that was such a cool guitar part that where did you even come up with that? And maybe it was they got there that morning and they were messing around with something, and it was inspired by being in this cozy cabin, and it just happened to come out in the video. And I think that's pretty neat that Small Pond, like, left its mark on these recordings because of the space.
Yeah. So when we recorded Oxen, that was our first day of filming, and we kind of, you know, Oxen's the oldest song that we recorded, and so we were kind of like, okay, let's test it out with this one. Let's get the kinks worked out and get the lighting right and the placement right of all the people working with us. And
I think we didn't even know for sure if we were gonna keep any takes from the first day. I think it was like set up as just a rehearsal day.
Right. Let's just see what happens. So that's why when you watch this, you'll see we're wearing different clothes. It was really neat. Oh, he's your friend. It was really neat to play that song with the band, because I think Austin and I have talked about this, like, at length, but, like, that song has just changed so much.
Yeah. We wrote it 2 years ago, and it was pre-pandemic. That wasn't even a thought in our head at all. And we wrote it, and it's, you know, just about community and connection and how much you need people in your life to go through life with. And, you know, the pandemic happened, and it was like, it took on this whole other, like, serious, like, almost like a comfort for us, like, listening to it and playing it and performing it, just of, like, how much we need people in our lives. And we missed having those face-to-face interactions for such a long time.
Yeah. And now it's turned into, like, our jammer, our Chatham Rabbits jammer
we
song.
We didn't write it with a full band in mind. We never performed it with a full band.
Yeah.
Until not too long ago.
Yeah, until after, like, venues opened up again and we were able to do it. So when you see this this video and you listen to this recording, you'll notice that separate from the studio recording from the Yoke Is Easy, The Burden Is Full album, this version has more riffs and more improvisation and just a longer intro and outro than you might be.
This is the song we pitched to festivals when we're like, we could headline that festival.
We can play at 9 p.m. Look at us.
On our band. beside you, helping to pull the weight. One day you'll be thankful for the grassy valley, clear bubbly water for you to take a drink. The beauty comes when the road gets rocky. The river rises, brings you to your knees. You find refuge. You find strength from the one beside you, helping pull the weight. There's strength in numbers, we can share the load. Look over your shoulder, and there you'll find your hope. Her eyes tell me there is no place we can't go. Jump in the wagon and head on down the road. You'll find refuge. You'll find strength from the one beside you, helping to pull the weight.
Yeah, y'all.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah. That felt like a great
That felt really good.
I've got nothing bad to say about that.
Abigail is the only song I've ever written that I wrote in one sitting. I typically am very frustrated by people that are like, oh, this song just poured out of me. And I normally roll my eyes at that because it takes me like months to finish a song. But Abigail, I finished in one sitting, and I was very excited to write it because we had just gotten our horses. Come here, Walter. I see you. At the time when I wrote this tune, and I was just like so obsessed with being outside with them and riding and being around them, and I wanted to find a way to incorporate my love of horses into a song. And late one night on Wikipedia, I came across the story of the Kentucky Pack Horse Library, and I thought that was so interesting and inspiring, and like I would want to be one of those horseback librarians during the Great Depression. So that's when I wrote the song. And then the other day I was like going through some papers and some old notebooks, and I actually found the notebook that I was working on the song, and you can see like this version. I mean, this is just like a first take, which I can't even wrap my mind around, but then you can see like on the next page I like made it a little bit more concrete, and there's less scratch outs and stuff like that. So I thought that was really neat. And
I'm glad you didn't just burn it on this candle.
Was I about to?
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is Abigail. The first line, actually, Austin, I don't even know if you know this, But the first line of Abigail, which is, I left my homeland with a song on my lips. I had that as evidence here on a notebook, piece of notebook paper. I had written that line down, like I just thought of it, or I don't know.
When did you write that?
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
And so I've been keeping this notebook paper, and it has like other lines that I thought were cool or popped into my head. And when I was thinking about how to start the Abigail song, I went back to that notebook and found that line and ended up incorporating it into the song.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay, sounds great.
Coolio.
Nice.
Woo! Take 2.
3.
Whoop. This is Abigail, take 3. It's just the bass, okay. I loved that.
Yeah. I thought that was great. There was the tiniest little vocal blip from
I
you,
bet
but
it was out of passion.
Yeah, I don't think. My Uncle David, he passed away. It's been about 3 years now, and he was only 64 years old and really young, but he was just one of those uncles that was like super influential in my life. And he is the first person to ever put an instrument in my hand, and it was really cool. His approach Like, he just didn't really care what instrument you played, what song you played, what kind of music. It wasn't one of those situations where, you know, you have a parent that tries to get you to take piano and play classical
You
piano.
will play Bach.
Yeah, like he was like, you can play anything you want as long as you just play. And my parents have not a musical bone in their body, and so I never knew music was even a possibility for me until Uncle David. I think the first instrument he ever put in my hands was a set of spoons. If you're from the South, you know all about the spoons. If you're not, you should. There's a lady from Asheville that plays on this.
Abby the spoon lady.
Yeah, the spoon lady.
Yeah.
But I quickly you know, I kind of progressed, and he put a guitar in my hand and taught me to play Johnny B. Good on this guitar up here, actually. Was the very first guitar I ever played, and when he passed away, he willed that guitar to me, which is really cool. I look at it and just think about, you know, how inspired I was back then to play music and try and kind of keep his legacy alive. And so Mike and David's really important to me in remembrance of David. And then also my Uncle Mike, he also passed away the same year as my Uncle David, also at a very young age. And he was not musical in any way, but I think I always thought that they could have been really good friends had they met, Mike and David, and they never got to meet in life. And so I think about where they are now, and hopefully they're together and being able to, you know, interact with each other. But the thing that I never really spent a whole lot of time thinking about, but as I've been processing why I wrote the song Mike and David, I think part of it is because we never actually had a funeral for my Uncle Mike. In fact, you know, we've talked about it a few times, but it's just never happened. And this is sort of my way of keeping his legacy alive and the memory of Uncle Mike through the song, which, you know, if I passed away and no one wanted to have a funeral, but they wrote a song about me, I'd be pretty happy. That's a great way to honor somebody, so.
As you were talking about that, I thought of something too, which is that you were saying that Mike wasn't musical. However, he really was gifted with the art of storytelling and sarcasm and dark humor. And he was, you know, so good at, like, you could sit down with him and talk. And I think that even if you don't think he, like, gave you a musical, like, melody writing ability or ability to play an instrument, he did teach you a lot about stories and, like, tall tales.
Yeah, he was really gruff. He was, like, always the one in the family with, the tall tale to tell you. You know, he loved to fish, so he would tell you at first that he caught a fish this big, and by the time he got around the room and told everybody the fish was like this big. And I don't know. I always, you're right.
You
that
know?
probably translates a lot to songwriting.
It's just something I was thinking about.
Mike and David were the best of friends. They never met, but they would have been. One stayed soaked to the bone. One was as dry as a mountain stone. Mike had salt running through his veins. David loved the hills and the sugar cane. In another life, they'd be yin and yang. Now I dream they'll meet beyond. Taught me how to load a hook and a gun. Send me out chasing game till the setting sun. rough as a cobblestone. David whispered in dry, windy tone. Both told me stories that felt like home, about days gone by they'd wish I'd known. Mike and David were the best of friends. They never met, but they would have been.
So when y'all watch these videos, you're gonna see us, but you're not seeing the 4 other people that were there. Actually 5 if you count Dylan on the board. There are 5 people working behind the scenes to make these videos happen. So there's a lot of stuff that we had to think about with the help of our film team, you know, like taping certain wires down, marking where people were gonna stand. Like, we set up a whole like command center in one room of the cabin. It was a very in-depth process that I don't think I realized until we were actually there doing it, how complicated and like how many pieces of the puzzle we needed to work with to make it happen.
I think what's really cool is that having not had a lot of experience like doing live music videos like this was sort of our first real crack at it. I think it's really neat that it wasn't like we didn't really rehearse per se, but then we had a day where we kind of like were fleshing everything out. I guess that was considered our rehearsal, and I didn't realize how in tune the camera crew would be with our songs, and like cutting to Spencer when he had a little mandolin break, or like cutting to Saman when the electric guitar would poke out a little bit. And it took a few tries like each song to get those dynamics right, but it's like we were so unified with the camera team that, you know, they're trying to capture it so in a way that like highlights the moments of the actual song and the performance. And I didn't really anticipate that being such a creatively like collaborative experience, which is really cool.
If You See Me Riding By was the first song that we recorded on the second day of filming at Small Pond. And it really, I think, to me at least, it set the tone for the day and was just a really easy, fun, chill song to get the day started, and just, you know, helped with that cozy vibe of Small Pond. That's a song that Austin and I wrote together. Austin started with the first 2 verses and then was like kind of stuck, and then passed it off to me. And when right when the pandemic hit in early March of 2020, we went out west to buy a tour van, and we were killing some time out there, and went on a fly fishing boat trip down the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon. And I do not fly fish. Austin was fly fishing. I was trying to write and finish the song, and I actually just ignore my.
She got a notebook with her portrait on it.
Yeah, this is me. This is my Wizard of Oz notebook. But I actually found the lyrics in here from when we were working on that. Yeah, March 10th, 2020. And when we were singing this song on stage and when we were singing it at Small Pond, I always just think about the cadence of like rowing the boat down the river, and I think about the being in the canyon and the fish Austin was catching, and like the chaos going on in the world around us that we didn't know about because we had no cell phone service and we were far from home, and we were actually
kind of living in this blissful bubble of
yeah.
like, we bought this new tour van, we're about to go on tour,
wow.
Everything's great, and COVID like followed us back, and we didn't even know it was happening.
We didn't know. It was like you're being chased by the boogeyman, but you're just like focused on like, ooh, ice cream shop up ahead, like gotta get to it. Like we were just like not looking back at all. So yeah.
One of my favorite aspects of music is just that it's easy to connect place and time in your life too with a song. Like if we hear the Beatles record, like the Beatles #1 album, everybody that has ever heard that, like you can just picture yourself where you were the first time you heard that. And from an artist perspective, we get that second layer where we also get to visualize, not only does it bring up a time and a place for us, but it also brings up that same place where we were like actually writing the song. So like when we were playing If You See Me Riding By, I think Sarah definitely, you probably think a lot about that river and that time we spent out west. And it's really cool. It's kind of our own behind the scenes moment where we get to experience that.
Yeah, I mean, we play these songs. I mean, we played like 180 gigs last year, and we're singing like the same songs, a lot of the same songs every night, and it can be monotonous. But if you're like, get into the moment and you're like, oh yeah, that breakfast we had that morning, or like that random person we met at the rest stop or whatever, and you start remembering what happened what was happening in your life when you wrote the song, it just adds another layer and like connects you to the place.
Yeah, because it was important for us to write the song,
Right.
or we wouldn't have written it. So I think a lot of our songs are marked by significant moments in our life, and this was definitely a significant moment. It was like the last tour before a year with no touring.
Fun times.
All right, If You See Me Riding By, take 5.
Walking into Small Pond for like our big shoot day, I was very distracted by some family drama that was going on in our life.
Some drama.
And anyways, it was a huge distraction for me, and I was having trouble being in the moment because I was like checking my phone and my email and trying to get updates from family members and all the things. But we really, like, everybody was counting on me to be present, and it really helped that I had the support of everyone that we were working with to like get in the moment, get in the songs, and it helped relieve the stress I was feeling. And by the end of the day, we were so exhausted and happy and satisfied with the work that we had done that like we just laid it all out on the table, and the drama could wait.
There's something that happens when you have a group of people that are working with a unified goal of creating something really magical. And I don't know, you kind of get lost in it. And I felt that way. It's like, I don't know, sometimes I have a hard time, like if I'm in my head, I'm like, I want to cook dinner and I want to cook this really elaborate thing. And I'm like, the idea of doing it is really daunting, but then once you start, it's like, wow, it's been 2 hours and it's done, you know?
Mm-hmm. In fact, Austin did that last night and made gumbo.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that happened at Small Pond. Like we were all there, we were tired, it was early, it was foggy, and then we walked in, like the smell of coffee hits you. Spencer says a goofy comment and brings a bag of airplane bottles to share, most of them being like Crown Royal or something.
Oh yeah, peppermint schnapps.
And you start like playing the first song and, you know, clicking the little whatever it's called to start the video and like take one, and you're like, by the end of it, you're like, we're done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The last song on the album is You Never Told Me I Was Pretty, and we are lucky that we even had time at the end of the day to film it and record it. We were like, okay, if we have enough time, we'll try singing this song one time and just see what happens.
I think we were hoping to get 5 songs from the day, and 3.
3, and we got 6, right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
You Never Told Me I Was Pretty is just such a tender, sweet song. And the fact that we were so drained and exhausted and the band had left for the day to go about their other things they had going on that week, and it was just us, the space, and the film crew, it ended up being such a tender moment and a beautiful song.
I think we were so exhausted, and like Sarah said, the band left, and I think maybe me and you, like, it helped us rise to the occasion because we literally played this song one time, and that is the video. Literally once. That was it. And I think that's really cool that, you know, we rose to that occasion, and that maybe our exhaustion, like, helped play into that. Then, of course, like, you know, we had the film crew and we had our recording engineer that were still there. Just sort of the end of the day, I think that coziness and that exhaustion really played into it.
And the Thai takeout foods that I ordered shortly thereafter and ate in bed at 7 p.m.
Yeah,
really,
you went to bed right when we got home.
I ate some curry and some ice cream, and I went to bed at like 7 o'clock, and I like slept for 15 hours. it was a really, really fun day and a fun ending to the day to record that song.
This song is my letter to you when you're old and gray. I hope you'll be around to see that I've turned out okay. You've already done your part and told me I was smart. told me I was brave. You never told me I was pretty. That's alright by me. I heard it my whole life. You had my heart in mine. Maybe you would wish that I had just stayed young. Would come around a little more often, be a little less high strung. You held me till I was grown, and now I hold my own. You never told me I was pretty, and that's alright by me. I heard it my whole life. You had my heart in